Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. This is a special transmission and I hope it doesn't catch you by surprise. I normally put out a monologue at 6 a.m. IST. Today it got delayed a little bit and I said, well, instead of doing all the legwork, research and delaying it further, why don't I just go live? Because this is an important conversation because the context here is the United Kingdom police. I want to draw your attention to a statement that the current Prime Minister, Mr. Rishi Sunak, made on April 2nd, 2023. He said that the criminal gangs, that is, the grooming gangs, will not be spared. There will be no political correctness when it comes to dealing with them. Now, close to 8 months have passed and not a single action has been taken. Worse, the two Home Secretaries, 𝗣𝗖𝗍𝗄𝗏 Patel and then now 𝗤𝙑𝙬𝗻 𝗤𝙑𝙬𝗻, when they tried to do something about it, guess what happened? They lost their jobs. 𝗣𝗖𝗍𝗄𝗏 Patel could not establish a refugee transit center in Rwanda where she wanted to fly out some of the illegals waiting to be processed into the United Kingdom, into Rwanda, and then do the processing there. That didn't go through. Then 𝗤𝙑𝙬𝗻, then when she said that the Metropolitan Police of UK was, Metropolitan Police of London was being partial towards one side in the recent anti-Israel riots, she was fired. Now you have James Cleverly, who was a foreign secretary before, and now you have David Cameron, the ex-prime minister, back as foreign secretary. I'm hoping that Mr. Cleverly does something cleverly and do some good about what is happening to Hindus of United Kingdom. What is this latest story? A family in Birmingham is terrified. To understand more, you have to go through the description section of this video. There are 4 or 5 links that I provided, and you will know all about it. An immigrant from India came to United Kingdom 8 years ago, and they recently moved into a house in Birmingham. Looks like the house is surrounded by members of the Muslim community, and these people are being terrorized. That's the only word I can say. They get tongue lashings. They have somebody coming and beating down on their door in the middle of the night. Then somebody else approaches and tells them, you should not be living here. We will tell you where you should live. Come on now, this person has paid mortgage, EMI, and he's continuing to pay, and he has paid and he has been obeying all the laws of the land, and this is the kind of treatment his neighbors give him. And what is his problem? That he's a Hindu in a Muslim community? Come on now, we are living in United Kingdom, not Gaza. And this is, there's a great amount of detail provided in one of the links in the description section. You'll know all about it, because why I'm highlighting just this one incident is because what happened to that family could very well happen to you. I'll also give you some other statistics. In August, September of 2022, riots happened in Leicester. The first one happened on the 28th of August following an India victory in an India-Pakistan game. It is alleged that some people came out on the streets and celebrated and sang, Jai Hind and so on and so forth. This is the real fact. But what was twisted out and then told was that some Hindu boys were teasing a Muslim girl. Now, there is no proof to say that this exactly happened, but the other side comes out and they start attacking, and then this is just first phase. Then on 4th September, the same two teams meet again, and this time Pakistan wins, and there is an unleashing of violence that you can only see to believe. And the Leicester police was so reluctant to register the cases. It was not the Leicester police that finally registered the cases. It was because of some non-governmental organizations, some volunteer organizations whose name I shall not mention. It is their work. They're supplying the black and white evidence of the kind of hoodlumism, of the kind of vandalism displayed by the Muslims that finally led to up to 89. The number, if you go and look in Wikipedia, will say 60 errors were made, none of that sort. The last number I have is 89. It may have gone up, but this number, whatever be the number, right? All that stuff came thanks to the efforts of individual volunteer organizations who took it upon themselves to say, look, Hindus need security, and if the police doesn't do its job, we will do it for you. That was the attitude. And I mean, Hindus are regrouping, and they are trying to use every means available at their disposal to try and push back. But this is just Leicester. And I told you about this couple going through an agonizing, terrorizing experience in Birmingham. But it all comes back to the original question. Are the United Kingdom policemen and women afraid of the Muslims? If so, why? Why try to treat one side with kid gloves while the other side is being imprisoned at the slightest opportunity? Writer Tommy Robinson, I don't know what wrong he did, but he got arrested. On the other side, you have this loudmouth called Majid Freeman, who talks about day in and day out all kinds of nonsense, vile abuse of Hindus and Hinduism, poking fun at what happens in rebirth, rejuvenation. Guys, if you want to talk ill of Hinduism, do you think you will keep quiet if I say something bad about your religion? Exactly. What happened to Nupur Sharma? By the way, Nupur Sharma was supported, one of the first peoples to support Nupur Sharma, not even in India, even till today, neither Amit Shah, the Home Minister, nor the Prime Minister Narendra Modi have said a word in support of Nupur Sharma. You know who said it? The current Prime Minister of Netherlands, 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙪. He was the first one, or one of the first ones, to come in support of Nupur Sharma. I'm going to have a separate session with 𝗒𝙑𝙬 𝗔𝙗𝑆𝑎𝑘𝑟𝑎 on the implications of the Netherlands victory of the right-wing party. How this is going to, start roll through and make a lot of changes in Europe. I think somebody has been getting a free ride for far too long, and I think that needs to stop. And it might stop very soon. If not, I think Rishi Sunak's days as a prime minister are numbered. This is my 2 cents, I'm afraid, because you need to apply law and order in the same even-handed manner on everybody, not just one segment. The Britons, the original inhabitants are afraid. You have things happening in crazy fashion in the adjoining country called Ireland, in Dublin. That is the Republic of Ireland. That is not under the control of United Kingdom. There you saw an Algerian who is an immigrant who has been living there for 23 years, hasn't worked a day in his life. 23 years, this person lives in Ireland, Dublin, Ireland, and he goes and attacks 3 children and 2 adults who come to the rescue of the 3 children. And you know how many immigrants Ireland took last year? 125,000. And all of them are being fed at the expense of the taxpayer of Ireland. Why? What is the need for that? You already know Ireland levies very less personal and company taxes. So where is the money coming to support all these things? Ireland cannot print its money out of the trouble. So a lot of problems. I think the free trade agreement between United Kingdom and India, I think it is still kind of hanging loose there, because perhaps India is demanding that UK act firmly, deport many of its economic offenders, as well as the rogue Khalistani elements that are sitting in UK. All these people, I think, unless these things are sorted out, I think the free trade agreement between India and UK might not materialize. This is my 2 cents, and I'm looking to see if there are any questions here. And there are just a few comments. I'm just going to play those things for you guys. Here we go. Here is somebody here. This is the more dire one here. Let me give you about 𝗣𝗑𝗍 power. He says, get out before it is too late. The country is thriving and calling. I think the country here, 𝗣𝗍𝗍 power, means India. Yes, many people are returning back. NRIs are coming back to India. They're finding a lot of opportunities. Charu S wants to say that appeasement politics everywhere, but that will doom them eventually. Wake up before it's too late, Brits, or else face the consequences. By the way, the Muslim population in Britain is only 9%. But the problem is, in London, the whites are only 35%. And so this is the problem. Scotland has a first minister who's of Pakistani origin, and he's talking that he's going to, if you let him, he might even bring in Sharia there. This is the island of Scotland. And here is somebody who is from Leicester. He's up early. I think it's 5 a.m. there. I live in Leicester, UK. Hindus live in fear because of Muslims here. The biggest thing in the UK for the police is a massive kick-off. Guys, these are people on the ground. We are with you, bro. We are doing our best to try and highlight this. It is not just one person in one place. We are now also forced to start cutting across country lines to start speaking up for the well-being and fate of Hindus. Many Hindus believe in obeying the law of the land, also paying taxes, and also being a model citizen in whichever country they immigrate to. They put their head down, they do indulge in politics, but it's a politics of a very, very clean caliber, very clean, high style. And what is now happening is these people are getting really, really hammered. That's the only word I can say, because the problem, you see how this starts. It has started with the Muslims. You're going to start seeing some of the rogue Khalistani elements take the Hindus on. Same problem. They want to somehow keep in the limelight. And some of these stupid governments, including my own United States, doesn't seem to learn and doesn't seem to want to learn. How much more proof do you want? Look around you. Open your eyes. Wake up and smell the coffee. Anyway, that's what I see. Worship Nature says Europeans should do a survey that how many houses are for sale. Well, see, what happens is if the police does not act, then slowly the well-meaning, well-heeled neighbors, well-heeled residents of that area will move to safer neighborhoods where there is a better protection. It could be even a walled neighborhood, where you have access, door entrance, and things like that. But for that, you need to also be able to afford that kind of a higher lifestyle, because it costs money to have security and so on and so forth. So this is one challenge. But what I see happening are silos where you might feel secure inside that bubble, but once you go out, you could be in trouble. Vishwaranjan Prasad says, Britain created a Frankenstein for India at the time of independence. Now it is coming to bite it. Yes, I agree. Ashok Khanna says 500 churches are converted to mosques in UK. What does it speak? Ashok, this is a slightly different variation, because churches have been not only converted to mosques, churches have also been converted into Hindu temples. What happens is, if the local community stops going to church, churches run out of funding. Churches actually in the West run based on the donations that its people, its flock, come and pay. But when they don't come to the church, and most of the West is now becoming irreligious. In other words, they don't even follow basic rules of Christianity. They don't. If you are a Catholic, you baptize your child. Many of people don't do that. They don't even follow normal ritual, even at weddings. And so this is a bit of a problem, because you need that spirituality to help you dig deep, especially when you are going through turbulent times in your life. That's when you really need the spirituality. So I always encourage everyone, it doesn't matter what religion you profess to, be always mindful that there is a God, that God will help you find the inner strength, especially when times are tough. That's where it is. So Ashok, I have seen a lot of churches becoming temples in United States. So this is not probably something bad, but the fact is that there are 500 converted. That should tell you how fast the Muslim population is growing. That is definitely a concern. Raj Iyer says, yes, will be so until they get the true import of dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Same in India. Waking up is hard to do. Stone says UK Met Police is run by Paki Mayor Sadiq Khan. What did they expect? Well, I did a quick survey. The percentage of Pakistani Britons in London is not that high. I think it is just the mindset that others vote in different candidates. These guys vote as a block. Where have I heard this before? Right? That's, I think, what is playing out in London. London can and will have a non-Muslim mayor. It just takes a lot of grit, somebody who can cut across the lines and inspire. And Boris Johnson was the mayor of London. I don't know how many of you remember that. Anyway, Chris Ram says, Sunak has ties to people like Soros, so he has to leave those racial jihadis alone. Laugh out loud. I don't know if Soros supports Muslims, though. I mean, Chris, he's more of an open society guy. I don't think he's doing anything there. See, what has happened is the numbers are small. The LGBTQ community, the Black Lives Matter, the wokes, the Muslims, all these people, they're all like here and there, fractions of percentages. They all come together against the establishment. That's what I've seen. For example, there was a cow culture conference that was sponsored by ISKCON in Milpitas, California, where I live. And Dr. Subramanian Swamy was the keynote speaker. All it was the Bos Indicus cow, how the cow culture has been, the fundamental, nucleus of India's civilization. Nothing to do with politics. It had no political overtone. You know what happened? Around about 2 hours into the program, you get every kind of protester starting to shout slogans, trying to disrupt the event. And what do? I mean, there were people who were, they didn't even know what they were protesting against. We go and ask them, what do you think is wrong with this? I don't know. Somebody just gave me some money and I got into the bus and came here. This is what is happening, guys. So the police knows what is going on. In fact, I can tell you, and I'm going to have a monologue soon about how many days it has taken, and still the United States San Francisco police and the FBI are yet to apprehend the culprits who set the Indian consulate on fire in San Francisco. It is now 125 days, if I remember correctly. July 2nd is when it happened. Even today, nobody has been arrested. Go figure. Okay. Transporter again, I'm a white British man. I have never known any problems with Hindus. It's always the Muslims. See, the thing, Transporter, I mean, I'm telling you this, right? Indian diaspora, whoever comes there, they just want a better life. India was in the grip of socialism for far too long. It's only in the recent past, especially after Modi came, that things have kind of become more stable. There is a growth, there is a visibility, not too much disruptions to day-to-day life. Then people are saying, okay, now I can thrive in India, right? So those who came over from the 60s, 70s, 80s last century, and up until 2000, Y2K was the last big push. And then after that, things have leveled off. The problem here that I see is that for some strange reason, it's not just the United Kingdom police, I'm afraid. It's the same with Canadian police. It's the same with United States police also. I've seen a lot of demonstrations take an ugly turn in SB 403 demonstrations. And this had nothing to do with the Muslims. But guess what? They would come and depose in front of a committee saying that we support SB 403. There is caste discrimination. Guy, you are a Muslim. What the F are you doing here? You have nothing to do with it. See, this is the problem. They always come together. They seem to gang up and say, we should look bigger than what we actually are. That's the problem. And this needs to be, and again, the law enforcement agencies all know what's going on. They know the ringleaders. They know the gang leaders. And yet they don't do anything. In fact, I regret to say this, at a Cupertino city meeting. Cupertino is where Apple is headquartered. At a Cupertino city meeting, where the city had actually come together to praise the contribution of Hindus to the city of Cupertino. As the hearings were going on, the same lumpen lumpens came in, disrupted, and this was about caste discrimination, that they were essentially doing a no to SB 403 resolution that was being passed by the city, and it got disrupted. One of the people who was actually from the backward classes, when he was talking, he said, "You guys don't represent me. You guys are doing this for mischievous purposes." This was aimed directly at some of the people who were on the other side, who were for SB 403, not even realizing that will impact them also. And you know what happened? That person collapsed outside and died. If it was not for Gavin Newsom, rejecting that, SB 403 would have been law today. But I'm not holding up hope, because the next presumptive governor is a Soros appointee. And for other reasons, this person, it's a she might sign another more draconian version of the SB 403 bill. We have to be alert. We have to educate our assemblymen and senators and go back and jog their memory and say, remember, this happened a year ago. Remember, Gavin Newsom turned it down, saying that there is adequate protection for this kind of thing in the US Constitution already. You don't need to have a new law. That is the question, and that is the eventuality. That is the scenario that all California-based Hindus need to face, and they will face it. There has been a lot of awakening about this, and the reason I took up this UK thing was I was shocked and horrified at the ordeal this couple are going through. What Hindus need is 1. World Hindu Alliance, 2. Hindu-Jew Worldwide Alliance, 3. Develop 1:1,000 capability to counter jihadis in any and all aspects of existence. If the law is applied fairly and evenly, a lot of this thing will calm down. Ask yourself this question, right? Ask yourself this question. India has about 18%, about 200 crores who are Muslims. But very rarely do you find them being part of ISIS or any other terror cell. Why? Because they like what they see in India. They are law-abiding. After all, they were Hindus maybe a few generations ago, but still the same is true of Pakistani also. What went wrong there? Only that's why I keep telling that the madrasas, whatever is being taught, especially all 5 days or weekly madrasas or where there's daily schools, those things need to be shut down. No, and this has to be done worldwide. Once you do it worldwide, then the people will get the message. The radical mullahs will get the message that their game is up, that they cannot do this thing anymore. I got a call that I couldn't not answer. KVA Power says it's a rent a mob express. Rent a mob. That is true. That's so true. So true. So true. The prosperous Muslim nations are not willing to take these guys from Syria or Gaza. That speaks volumes. You are right, Ashok. That is very true. Satyam Srivastava says, China को कोई muscle power नहीं उसे यूज करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि ये तो इंटरनली ही बर्बाद हो रहे हैं, even though they have a great economic might. Abhijit always said, West to gayo. I don't think that is true. See, each country has its own way of applying laws to maintain law and order. This is a temporary, lull. There's a bit of a backlash that took place because of BLM, Black Lives Matter. But I think the United States is fast finding its feet. I'll give you an example. New York Mayor Eric Adams is now saying that I don't want any more illegal immigrants. In fact, he has actually turned out many of them from 5-star, 4-star hotels, and they said, you are not here anymore. I'm not paying this bill anymore. Why? Because the funding has stopped. So whatever the judgment, whatever the wisdom that the Biden administration had in allowing 3.125 million illegals now in the United States, just try to wrap your head around that, guys. Many cities I'm seeing now, tents getting pitched on main roads, and pretty soon I'm going to start seeing aggressive panhandling, and God save us, especially at intersection where you're waiting for the light to turn red or green. That's when this thing will start. I don't know how this is going to be handled. I'm hoping and praying that a change in administration will come, an administration which will be very, very strict in deporting these 3.125 million back outside to wherever they came from. It's going to cost a lot of money, but if not deporting them, at least they need to put them in a place where they need to be processed before they can be let into the country. That is a minimum that needs to happen. Solitude. Where did I curse Modi? Where is Modi even here? All I said was Modi did not say a word about Nupur Sharma. Am I saying something wrong? Guys, you have to grow up. You cannot have a bubble where nobody can say anything about Narendra Modi. After all, wasn't she a BJP member? And what wrong did she say? Vishwaranjan Prasad says, groups which are anti-Hindu in India are relatively small. It is just that they are bundled, I think they are bound together, and we are not. We need to get together and take back media and education in our hands. Sam, Dan, Bhed, Dand. Guys, the sequence is Sam, Dan, or Sam, Dam. Dan is where you give some money. And Bhed is create differences, and then you punish, which is Dand. So the sequence is slightly off here. Vinod Kumar Manikam says, I live in a predominantly white Christian community in USA, no problem at all. When I lived briefly in a Muslim community, I used to be scorned for being a Hindu. So true. Arindam Ghatak says, PGurus, it is Madarsas, not Madrasas. I stand corrected. I have to double check this and make sure that I don't make this mistake again. Stone says, Sree sir, we can't ban protest, but we should ban face masks at protests. More than half the people would not show up. Well, there has been active video taping of protesters at various events. In fact, the United Kingdom police is cracking down on that. But what are you going to do? The proposal to handle all these illegals has been shelved. They were supposed to have been sent to, picked up from the streets and sent to Rwanda and processed there. That has not happened. If not Rwanda, why can't they find an island in North Sea? UK has a lot of area there unoccupied, or scantily occupied. Isle of Man or something like. I'm just giving a name. I don't want Isle of Manners coming up in revolt saying, PGurus, what do you know? We want our place for ourselves. Jaya Srivastava says, hello, Mr. Iyer. Please provide update on Sengol. I've tried email and WhatsApp and calling a number on you. There is no response. Jaya, and I want to tell everybody, this is what has happened now. By the end of this month, I think 2 or 3 days from now, it will ship from the manufacturer. I have to still clear customs. I have some paperwork. So I will keep you notified. It is there. It is done. I told you, right? It has to be a hand job. And that's what took us time. And we initially thought we will get this many orders, but we got this many orders. So the job size became bigger, but that helps us override or some of the costs of transportation. And we think that we will be able to get a better Sengol the next time around when we start developing. Especially we want to try and sell it at a reasonable price that India can afford. At the price that I was selling it in US, India, I can't convert that into rupees and hope to sell it in India. It's too high for India. I need to figure out a way to lower the price. So we're doing everything possible to make this happen. Just be patient, guys. I'm sorry I have not been explicitly mentioning this. I do reply to all the emails that people do send. It's sale@sreeiyer.com. If I don't reply, somebody from the group does reply, and we, like I said, we are monitoring this very, very closely, and we are very close to sending you your own Sengol. Thanks for being patient. AMS wants to know, why doesn't USA Congress take action against Soros Foundation? See, whatever Soros is doing is not illegal. What made the United States government to open its borders? They actually overrode the customs and border protection teams. They said, you shall open the doors, the borders. People just walked in. Why? At whose behest? Even today, nobody has answered this question. So there was clearly a quid pro quo. Somebody said, I will give you so much money. By the way, George Soros is the biggest donor to the Democratic Party. 100 million plus a further 115 million to those who are fighting some special groups, special interests. That is the amount of money that Soros donated. So that goes a long way. Goes a long way. 𝗣𝗚𝗂𝗿𝗂𝘁 says, Major Adam is investigated for sexual assault he allegedly committed 30 years ago. The hang Trump law is coming his way. Apparently expired on TG Day, Thanksgiving Day, specially crafted for getting Trump. Yes, a lot of these kinds of Machiavellian attempts have been made to try and, throw Trump in prison. See, it's difficult to say that it's Mayor Adam, I think. Mayor Adams, I should say. Look, politics is a very murky place, okay? And people who are morally clean are very rare to find in politics. I'm not saying every politician is immoral, but just take my word for it. You see, if you are caught, then you will be cast away, you'll be ostracized. If you're not caught, life goes on. That's all I can say. Transporter says it's 1:59 here in UK. Most of the jihadis now will be asleep in the tunnels under London. Well, I'm hoping that this will pique the interest of all our viewers and across the world. See, what is happening in one country easily spreads to the other countries. This is where you need to be watchful and make sure that you can do some basic things to protect yourself. For example, have closed circuit television cameras, make sure that those are working, so that if somebody vandalizes your house, you have video proof to submit to the police. Police will not investigate anymore. There are far too many incidents. So this is the other thing. If 1,000 people attack 1,000 houses, it becomes the police gets overwhelmed. So it's up to you to make sure that you have adequate proof of burglary being done, and you will need that even to claim insurance. So this is the thing that you need to do. You can always build back your house. Don't worry about it. But first, you need to have proof. That is the most important thing. Satyam Srivastava says, I think I'm going to stop in just a minute here. We have been live for 32 minutes. Satyam Srivastava says, Sir, Paris city से जब आप बाहर travel करोगे तो पूरी रोड कब्जा कर रखी है. अगर फ्रांस आना तो एक बार जरूर आउटर पेरिस ट्रैवल करना, लगेगा ही नहीं यूरोपियन कंट्री है. Satyam ji, I was in Paris in 2019 summer. First mistake, I land in July. I think Paris will be warm. No, it's not warm. I had no sweater, neither did my family. The first thing we did, the first afternoon that was spent in Paris was spent going up and down that street opposite Arc de Triomphe, and that one big street where you have all these fashionable outlets, and getting something warm so that we could survive the remaining trip. And Paris is, they are forcibly keeping it clean, but once you step away from the touristy places, it gets pretty nasty. I've seen some of the rough neighborhoods in Paris itself, and Starbucks completely boarded up, and you have to press something to get inside. So they are being very careful about letting people in. This is Starbucks, and this is Paris. I mean, it is a mess. Yes, I completely agree with you. Chandana Putta wants to know, how does the US government tolerate this huge pro-Palestinian protest on the sides of cities? See, what happened is that the woke educators, education, especially universities, tend to be very liberal. Somewhere the liberals, their agenda got hijacked by the woke. And now everywhere you have this thing about anything that the government does has to be wrong. And therefore, there's an anti-government stance. And this has been ingrained in students when they go to college. They say that, oh, well, this is wrong, that is wrong. The government is always at fault. Until they go back and join the workforce and they start paying the taxes, then they realize how wrong they were. But then that's not the group that goes back to universities again, right? A new group is coming from high schools and coming in. So this stream has been utilized very effectively. That's where you need to go back and break. Okay, this is the last one. Akundi Srinivas wants to know, is UK PM post just a government job? How much powerful the post carries? PM, even other cabinet posts are keep changing so often. Take a look at what Margaret Thatcher did. Right? She was called the Iron Lady. She didn't have a great majority the first time around, but she kept winning elections. So it takes a supreme will, and you should be not having any strings. You should be able to, not have any kind of obligations where you are there because of something that somebody has done for you. Then they'll come calling. What is happening to Biden now that you're seeing? And the same reason why Donald Trump or Vivek Ramaswamy are being opposed tooth and nail by vested interests. Why? Because these people don't have any strings connected. They cannot be manipulated. That's why they don't like it. We are getting a lot of comments, guys, but I think I'm going to log off now. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.